Good morning or good night, Gacha Kingdom. Today we're going to be talking about lighter! Yes, I know not even most, I think like all of you in the Gacha Kingdom are like humongous lighter bias fans. So I'm talking about lighter today. I am struggling to make any more content about this man because I feel like I've talked about him like left and right and all up and down. I just haven't gone diagonal. So we're going diagonal today. We're going to be talking about every single relationship we have put this man through, because I feel like as the zenless zone LGBT community, we've just been like, oh, that's a new man. Hey, get lighter over here. Will this man pass the lighter test? If he does pass the lighter test, yeah, this man's gay. All right, gay. The gay test is lighter. How hot do you think lighter is? In my previous video talking about bangboo yaoi, someone commented about how maybe yaoi Jesus aoba himself would show up one day, and I took that idea and I was working on this lighter idea. I was like, oh my god, like fucking Jimmy Neutron brain blast, and I combined the two. So now here we are with a lighter visual novel. If you want to steal this idea and you know how to use renpai, then go ahead, be my guest. Just please put me in your credits as the ideaist. I don't know. And also don't use AI slop. We have too much AI visual novel slop on itch.io already, okay? Don't add to the pile, okay? So this is the exposition of the lighter visual novel so that we are all up to date about why lighter is just going out and about and he's not in the outer ring. Lighter's BL visual novel arc happens after the major events of Wi-Fi Peninsula. I know that we haven't officially finished the major story arcs of Wi-Fi Peninsula yet, but this is where like my brain immediately went to when I was like, oh, the visual novel, yeah, it would happen after Wi-Fi. Ideally, I would say that it would happen after this entire Zenless Zone Zero story arc is finished, but this video wouldn't be out for another 10 years if I did that. So let's just pretend that we're in the 2.5 update where we're going to have a filler arc where Astra Yao comes back and she's going to have like some like diva fight off with Monica, and Monica is going to be the 2.5 character. This is where the visual novel is taking place. You are playing as Lighter. Yes, you are playing as the man himself, Lighter. I know some of y'all would not leave your rooms and you would just be looking at the mirror, but for this case, we gotta keep going, okay? You, Burnice, and Pulchra have done a really good job rounding up the rest of Lucius's men and all the other gangs that didn't believe Caesar was a good king. You beat the shit out of them, so they're like, okay, well, she's got reasonable people that can look after her. And she's like, damn right I do. Because of that, you're now delegated to a bunch of mundane tasks around Blazewood. Well, you would usually be delegated those tasks, but because Pulchra and Burnice don't have anything else to do, they've been delegated to those tasks instead, because if Burnice isn't doing something, she might end up burning down Blazewood. With your newfound leisure time, you find yourself staring out into the outer ring a lot recently, and you're not the only one that's picked up on this. Lucy's noticed that you've been staring out into the outer ring void a lot recently, so much so that one day she goes up to Caesar and goes, hey, I think Lighter's been kind of bummed out recently. And the oblivious Caesar obviously goes, really? Wow, I never noticed. Caesar comes up to you and she goes, hey, are you doing okay? And then you get two answer prompts and both of them say no. And Caesar goes, oh shit, wow, oh, you're not doing okay. The conversation probably goes like, oh, I feel like I've been letting the sons of Calydon down because like I've been doing nothing while y'all are doing everything. And Caesar's like, no, you've done like everything that when we needed you. And Lighter's like, that's the exact point. Like, you guys don't need me right now. And Caesar's like, no, oh, that's not the case. And then something like brain blast in Caesar and goes, you know, last year before the Torre de Inferno, I was feeling down in the dumps too. And Lucy noticed. So Lucy told the proxy to tell me to go to New Eridu with them so that we can hang out and go into the city and see new sights and take in the flowers, see how blue the sky is and stuff like that. And obviously I came back feeling like a new woman by Lisa featuring Roselia. The next morning, ring, you text Belle and you're like, hey, can I crash at your guys' place for the next month? I've been kind of feeling down in the dumps in the outer ring, so I wanted to experience city life for a little bit. And she's like, yeah, sure. Do you want me to tell Wise? And this is when you get the text prompt of, yes, you can tell him, or no, you want, please don't tell him, I'll tell him. In person, you go up to every single Sons of Calydon member and you say goodbye to them. You make sure that Burnice is going to burn down Blazewood. Pulchra goes, yeah, don't worry, I'll make sure she doesn't do that. And Burnice is off in the corner somewhere making like untangling a bangboo inside a tumbleweed probably. And she's like, man, it'd just be easier if I could just burn it. And then like obviously the bangboo is like, oh my god. And then Pulchra goes, okay, bye, I have to go make sure she doesn't light that bangboo on fire. And before you leave, Big Daddy comes up, he goes, hey, do you want a tutorial of how to hook up with men? And then you get a tutorial with Big Daddy, maybe you have a sex scene with him, I don't know. But off you go, and that's the exposition. And that's why Lighter hasn't been around in the outer ring for a month, because he's been hanging out with Belle and Wise, the proxies, and hanging out with everybody else in New Eridu for a hot minute. So now we are in the meat of this visual novel. In my very biased opinion, obviously the most canonical route out of this month-long Lighter BL visual novel arc, Lighter Wise is obviously going to be the most canonical out of them. So I'm going to be talking about them first. And obviously you have to talk about them first because you're crashing at their place for a whole ass month. If you decide to surprise Wise, Belle will meet you outside of random play and she'll explain to you the both of them have been up in the Wi-Fi Peninsula dealing with all that random ass shit that Wi-Fi Peninsula has been dealing with. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. And she's like, yeah, I know. Wise is probably changing up in his room right now and he expects me to go in and to go into my room. So if you want to peek at him while he's naked, then like that would be the time. And you can choose to either go and hang out with other people, but obviously we want to see Wise naked, right? So you gotta take your chance. You walk in, Eos is like, oh my god, it's Lighter, and you're like, shh, Eos, like don't say anything. And Eos goes like, oh my bad. You go upstairs, Wise goes, oh Belle, are you back from getting noodles? You can just put them outside my door, I'm not done changing yet. This is when you get the text options of either busting down the door or slightly opening the door so that you can get a peek at Wise, or you can just like knock the door and be like, yo, it's me, Lighter. And because Lighter is a gentleman, he like knocks and he's like, no, it's me, Lighter. And Wise is probably like, oh my god, holy shit, and then like drops his pants. After letting you in, that's when you tell Wise the great news that you're gonna be with them for a whole ass month. And Wise is gonna be like, holy shit, you're gonna be here for a whole ass month. And you're like, yeah, I already told Belle over text, but I wanted to tell you in person. And then Wise is like, oh my god, just marry me right now. After failing or successfully seeing Wise naked, it's Belle, and she walks in, she goes, hey guys, you guys can go to Waterfall Soup and talk to General Chop and get some noodles. I already put in my order, but I'm just gonna go change while he cooks it up. And so you guys can go get some ramen. And then you're like, yeah, fuck, I'm starving. This is when you get like a little ramen scene with Wise and Lighter, and then Wise is telling you about all the adventures that happened in Wi-Fi Peninsula, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy, what the fuck? And then this is when you get another hookup mini game that's basically like as easy as the tutorial, because Wise is obviously the most canonical route, so he's got the most easiest route. After all that though, you go back to random play because it's about to be midnight. Like Soldier 11's about to pull up to General Chop and order some like really spicy noodles. So you go back to random play with Wise, and Wise goes, oh yeah, you can crash on the couch out here, I promise it's really comfy. And you're like, well, I've slept on worse beds before, so we're all good. And Wise goes, okay, cool, good night, and then goes back upstairs, and then probably has like a dilemma about how, oh my god, Lighter's here for a whole ass month, what the fuck do I do? Oh my god. This is about as far as I've gotten into detail about Lighter's BL visual novel arc here. So going forward, I'm just going to be talking about these arcs in broad strokes because I just haven't really gotten that far into detail. Maybe one day, but that day is not today. I have figured out how the sex scenes will pan out, so I've thought that far through. Just not how we will get to the sex. Because Lighter Wise is my non-biased opinion the most canonical route, because canonical routes usually have the most scenes and the most CGs and arts and stuff like that, Wise's route will have 5 Bond stories instead of the usual 3 Bond stories that you get with characters. That's usually the, oh, we meet them, and then we get like a teasing of like them being shirtless or like pantsless. and then like the middle scene of maybe like a blowjob or something, and then the last heart is like them like straight up like raw dogging and stuff like that. We're getting a little bit more substance with lighter wise, okay? In the hookup game department, because every visual novel needs some kind of random ass, stupid ass mini game for the guys to fall in love with you for whatever reason. As I mentioned earlier, doing the hookup game with Wise is probably going to be the easiest, because not only is he the canonical story that you have to play through anyways, he's probably the most open about having a relationship with Lighter to begin with, because he's probably told Belle about how he likes Lighter, and then Belle's probably like, well, how about like having like a relationship with him, like full out marrying the man, and then Wise is probably like, oh no, that would never happen, like I'm not in his league, and Belle's like, are you sure? The first heart you'll get with Wise is probably going to be like that. You guys know that pants meme where the guy can't get the pants over his bulge and ass? Well, it's probably going to be like that, but it'll be over like Wise's bulge, but like not over his ass, because his ass is too big, because Yi Xuan did such a good job training Wise that his ass just got bigger, so his previous pants just don't fit him like that no more, unless he like really put them up. And if you just barged in, or if you like slyly looked through the door, then you'll get that CG. If you just knock the door and be like, yo Wise, yo let me in, you'll get a chance to get this CG a little later. The second heart will probably be like some kind of pseudo date that Belle and the rest of the Sons of Calydon push out to those two, like, oh hey Lighter, can you go get something from Lumina Square? And Belle will be like, hey, can you guys go to Lumina Square and like get something for us? And meanwhile, like they're peering out like, oh my god, are they like, are they gonna kiss? Oh my god, no way. Like it's probably gonna be like Belle and Caesar like hiding the entire time while they watch Lighter and Wise like hang out, go shopping in the mall, eat hot pot or some shit like that. Your ending CG for this second heart will be them to looking out into like the pier area. You know the Persona confidant ass gameplay where you get to look through Lighter sunglasses and see like the pier and stuff like that. It's basically going to be that. It's going to be Lighter and Wise like just hanging out near the pier looking into the sea, maybe around evening time, and then like in the CG it'll be like a little like mini Caesar and Belle in the background like spying on them, and then like after they start leaving, like Belle and Caesar probably get accidentally pushed out, and then like they fall over, and then they're like, oh my god, what are you two doing here? And they're like, nothing, we were just getting boba. The third heart will probably be some kind of at-home date where you and Wise will watch a romantic movie about, I don't know, just a romance movie, maybe like Sweet Talk or some shit like that, like that, you know, that one coffee movie. Yeah, that one. We'll watch like a romance movie with Wise, and then if you successfully hook up with him in the hookup mini game, you'll get a CG of like both of you like holding hands on the couch, and then like a kiss. Oh yeah, the stereotypical like shoujo ass kiss where they're holding hands on the sofa, and then like obviously, you know, kissing, and then like they're gonna be like, oh my god, did we just kiss? And then like blush, and then Wider will be like, I'm going to bed, and then Wise is gonna be like, oh yeah, sure. I know I mentioned that they would be like the most canonical, and then that's how we get like the most CGs, but like I haven't mentioned about them having sex yet, but like I feel like their relationship would be like a very loving romantic relationship, you know what I mean? Like those like stereotypical like shoujo ass shit where you spend like 100 chapters of the slow burn romance, and they finally like hold hands and kiss, and you start cheering at your fucking TV screen or at your fucking at your manga. That's such a funny scene. Okay, you're like, yeah, finally, oh my god, they're holding hands, and you're shouting at a fucking manga. The fourth heart with Wise is probably going to be like some kind of working ass date. So Belle will probably get some kind of commission from somebody from internet talking about how, oh my god, my bangboo went into the hollow and it's been like 3 days. I don't know where they are. I really hope that they're safe. Can someone go save my bangboo? So Belle takes the commission because that's basically free polychrome if they can find this bangboo. She tells Wise, and then like, hey Wise, you can just take Lighter. He's like right there. And then you guys can complete this today, right? And Wise is like, yeah, sure, we can complete it today. So you and Wise go out and try to find this bangboo, and it turns out, oh my god, this bangboo got abducted by some hollow raider gang people. Holy shit, no way, assholes. So obviously, because you're lighter and you're cool like that, you beat the shit out of them. But then, oh my god, like one of them tries to hurt Wise, and then because of that, like you get hit by this hollow raider, like wham, and that shit hurts. And then you like beat the shit out of the rest of them, and then like Wise is like, oh my god, are you okay? And Lighter's like, yeah, that shit was just like a square hit to my abs, but I'm okay. So you get back, you save the bangboo, oh, here you go, Belle, you can contact the person in Aeronaut and we could get the free polychromes, woohoo! But now you're hurt, and it really fucking hurting. So Wise takes you to his bedroom and puts bandages around your abs, and then like, I'm sorry that I'm fucking useless. And then you have like a conversation about like, Wise getting strong and shit like that. And then by the end of it, then you're kissing under like the moonlight, because like that's some like visual novel like stereotypical ass shit, but like it's really pretty. Like they're both kissing on Wise's bed, and then after this point you can sleep on Wise's bed instead of just the couch. The fifth heart will probably come from some kind of like midnight conversation you'll have with Wise, because you're probably having trouble having sleep and Wise suffers from insomnia, and both of y'all are suffering from basically the same thing. So you ask Wise if he's doing okay, and then Wise is probably like contemplating about opening up, and that's when you get the hookup game. And then if you succeed with the hookup game, then Wise will like open up about how, oh yeah, our previous teacher that was basically our mom, she's the one that is framed from Hollow Zero, like the big Helos Academy. Yeah, it was her, and we went to China and we tried to find her because apparently she's there within like all the miasma particles and shit like that. But we couldn't find her because it was all just a ruse from the miasma, or that's what I'm assuming. Then Wise will say something like, it wasn't that bad when the beginning of the month when you started staying with us, but now that the end of the month is coming around and you're about to leave, the nightmares of like the academy explodes, and then like, in that blast, like I could have lost Belle there, or like I could have died and stuff like that. And then that's obviously when you comfort Wise and you're like, I'll be here with you and stuff like that. And then like you kiss, and then if you wanted to take things further, then you have say Gex. Nothing like a round of therapy sex to get rid of your worries of your previous past and overcome them with the power of a 8-inch long dick up your fucking ass. The CG will probably be missionary, so that Lighter can obviously look at Wise's face and see if Wise is doing okay still. And then after the end of it, they can like sweet and tender kiss each other until they both go to bed. If you don't want to go through the canonical route of Lighter Wise, then that's okay. There's a lot of other men that I haven't gotten to yet, and I will try to make them a lot more faster than Wise, Lighter Wise. I just, again, like super biased opinion, I have a lot to say about Lighter Wise. Sometime in the first week of a vacation, Billy will text you and be like, hey, Caesar told me that you were going to stay in the Janus Quarter for a month. Is that true? And then you're like, oh yeah, it was true. And then Billy will be like, oh my god, if that's the case, like, you want to hang out in the arcade? I got some moves I want to show you. And you can have dates with Billy at the arcade. The first heart with Billy, if you succeed with the hookup game with Billy will probably be a little bit harder than Wise, but like not super hard, like medium difficulty, like easy plus difficulty. The first CG with Billy will probably be like both you and Billy playing one of those like shooting games, like maybe like Tomb Raider, or my bad, not Tomb Raider, like Grave Adventurer, and you're playing those games. And because Billy's already shirtless, like it's just basically like basically his M6 art, and him being like, wow, look at like how good like my shots are, and you're like, wow, yeah, you've improved so much since the time you were in Sons of Calydon. He's like, wow, thanks. To get Billy's second and third heart CGs, you have to essentially convince Billy to not see you as a brother anymore, because I think Billy probably sees Lighter more as a brother than he does like anything else. So if you decided to raise him up and be open about in being in a relationship with Billy, basically saying, hey, you know, like we can end this brotherly relationship and we can be a couple romantic relationship with each other. I think that's how they would both end up with each other. But again, like Billy would have to just like get over that four wall, and Lighter too. If it was like vice versa, if Billy was having a super crush on Lighter, I think both of them currently right now see each other as brothers. But if they both like, you know, put that aside, start a romantic relationship with each other, I think that's possible. If you do successfully convince Billy to want to be in a relationship with you, then the second heart will come from after an arcade session and you meet in that back alley with all the cats and shit like that. And you do like a I forgot what it's called. Lighter would put his arm right above Billy, or like maybe, or they're the same height, next to Billy, and then like they start like making out and shit like that. That's essentially what I think the second CG art would be. And then the third CG art would be, oh shit, you know, like the last train just went by because it's fucking 2 a.m. Soldier 11 is literally out there. Is that Ambi? No, that's Soldier 11. Oh, what's up, Soldier 11? You and Billy both ask Belle and Wise if he can crash on the couch, and they both say yes. So they both get their work done. They turn off Fairy as usual, and Belle takes Fairy up to her room. Wise goes back to his room, and now it's just you and Billy. And this is when the sex happens, because you probably bring up, hey, you know, ever since that upgrade, have you had like any action with it? And Billy's like, no, I haven't had a lot of action ever since joining the cutting hairs. And you're like, why not we try it out right now? And Billy's like, what the fuck, really? And the third CG art will essentially be like you edging Billy, both like taking up the mouth and like you jerking him off, and then maybe like you like inserting fingers up his ass. On the first weekend of your vacation, Wise will ask you if you want to go to the new Airdo gym, and obviously you do want to go to the new Airdo gym, right? That's not just because it's another stereotypical visual novel place that you can go to, but because it's the new Airdo gym. Whoa, no way. A grand opening since the Airdo gym, since it got blown up in the hollow. Wow, crazy. And it's got like new mechanics like bangboo weights. Ooh. While you're there, you run into Anton and you're like, oh, aren't you like supposed to be at the job site? And Anton's like, oh no, I got weekends off this entire month, so I don't really need to be at the work site unless like it's like an emergency. So to keep me busy and my body like, you know, like looking like a bro, I decided to have a membership here at the gym, and that's how you get the Anton route. To make up for the fact that you can only meet Antons on Saturday and Sunday on your vacations, it'll probably be like the easiest to complete, to like, oh, you can have a date with Anton on Saturday and Sunday and get heart 1 and heart 2, and then the next weekend you can hit him up on Saturday and get heart 3 and be done with it. With the hookup game, it'll probably be like medium-ish hard, but like not too hard, you know what I'm saying?
뭔지 알지. 하는데 뭔지 하나도 모르겠어.
His first heart CG will probably be just him super sweaty and like shirtless, and he's him sitting down on one of those like workout benches. I don't know, I've never been to a gym. Number 2 will probably be like a shower scene with him. You both are gonna start testing each other's sword sizes. The third heart CG will depend on if you meet Anton in the morning/afternoon. If you do, then you'll get this CG where you're in the showers, but like not taking a shower, but it's okay because you're not paying for the water bill, so you're just having the shower on so that you can mask all the moans that you're making because you're sitting on Anton's shoulders and he's deep throating your drill while he's playing with your ass. If you meet Anton in the evening/midnight, then it'll be the classic pressing him up against the lockers and shoving your drill right up his ass while your pecs are pressing against his pecs, and you're kissing him and then you're shoving it until it's real messy. This route I entirely dedicate to Nori, because if it wasn't for Nori, I probably wouldn't have considered this. But because if this ship is so good, it stops this man from drawing Sanji and Zoro together, then it's something else. Someone's just gonna have to write it for me. At the beginning of the second week, Harumasa will text you and say that he saw you going into the new Erdu gym with the proxy, so he wants to see if you're free sometime that week, and so that you can both hang out and get some coffee and catch up. Hookup game difficulty wise is probably going to be the hardest with Harumasa, because not only is Harumasa wanting to have a relationship with somebody else, I don't think Harumasa and Lighter would really have like synergy with each other, or maybe like I'm just like stupid and like I just don't see these two. Like again, like someone's just gonna have to like write up the story for these two for me. That said, you would have to be like super uber duper straight to want to turn down a date with Lighter. So anything's possible. And last, and definitely not least, we're going to talk about Manato. Shout out to zenless Zone Zero Hellhound on Twitter, because this one's fully dedicated to you. Just like Harumasa Lighter, someone's gonna have to just write this story out for me when it comes to Lighter Manato. Like, I know Manato, but like, we don't really know Manato, if that makes any sense. So, until 2.3, I'm not really sure how they're gonna like meld together, and I don't even know if they're ever going to meet canonically. I really hope that they do. A little bit of me hopes that Manato meets Seth more than he does Lighter, but like that's just me. But I have to put that aside because we're talking about hot men having hot gay sex. When it comes to the hookup minigame, Manato will probably be that in between Anton and Harumasa. But in hindsight, it'll probably be the hardest route to do, because obviously Manato is up in Waifei Peninsula, and because you're in the Janus Quarter and Waifei Peninsula is quite a drives away, you don't really have that many open days to go meet Manato. So if you really want this route, you're gonna really have to fucking work for it. Because of that, you will be rewarded just like Harumasa, and every single CG will be sex. The first heart CG will be kind of a cop-out answer, but I haven't said it yet. It's gonna be 69 position with Manato at the bottom and Lighter on top, because that man is humongous. And I'm talking about Manato, I'm not talking about Lighter, but both of them are technically humongous. I haven't said 69 position yet, but it's like a stereotypical BL visual novel position, because you can't have a visual novel BL without having a 69 position eventually. The second heart and story will probably be Manato and Lighter sparring against each other, and Manato will be like, well, I'm more flexible than you are, and will bust out one of these Jacko ass poses, and then Lighter will take the advantage of how Manato is literally presenting his ass and pull down his pants and pull down Manato's pants, and then start digging him down right then and there. The third heart CG, I'm not about the story, but I'm going to assume that Manato wants revenge sex over the fact that that man took advantage over his flexibility. So he's probably going to test Lighter's flexibility by putting him in the classic hydraulic press. Throw his legs right over Manato's arms, have him slide right down his dick, and that's the end of the visual novel. You get to the end, you go back to the outer ring, you talk to Caesar, and Caesar is like, oh yeah, well, we figured out what you can do other than being a bodyguard for me. And it's like a shot of like Lighter in like Cheesetopia, like a waiter waitress outfit, being like, yeah, full time at Cheesetopia. And it's it's like Lighter like with like, oh man. Again, like I haven't thought about the details. I don't plan to make this a visual novel. If you are inspired by this video to like make a whole ass visual novel, all I'm asking is like you credit me as like an idea is to in your credits, please. Thank you. This video also at the end kind of just turned into how many sex positions does Cash Money know, but I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. And have any of you guys seen Yidhara's battle animations? Can you believe that they put so many tentacles on this girly, but she doesn't use any in battle? Man, what a disappointment. But hey, I mean, Yidhara and Lucia, yo, I hope